Though the election is over, we have still a ways to go. Welcome to Chapter 12 of How to Run for Governor.
Article 9, Week 12. Basis for disqualification. There is a difference between what we believe in our mind and what is the current reality in the state in which we reside. What we believe may be so in our current state, and then again there is a possibility it may not. The state, being a machine of politics, manages the agriculture and commerce of citizens' efforts. The later builds homes with man's hands, while the former builds them without. Sure, there are politics within the church, but bound by doctrine and the hierarchy of a particular denomination, we often sacrifice our wills and wishes to the wills and wishes of the church. This altruism is why there is a division between church and state in our country, because there would be little control of citizens, if they followed what they believed, as opposed to the ties of morality which bind the state to others and them all to the greater nation. The state builds houses, while the church and its order settle a home. Brick and mortar versus an unyielding familial mentality where they are not in competition but contemporaries. Before the state here in America, at least, the church took the imperial position of claiming every land it, by way of its subjects, laid its eyes on, because, theoretically, followers of any religion were on a mission. This mission to claim every soul for the Lord would be more than happy to take what followers possess in the form of a donation. Sure, the church has parishes, regions, territories, and provinces, but no state here. When we broke from the crown, we attempted to fully and forever, so we had to separate church and state to stay out of the politics of Europe. How can we move forward with stains of the past? Be that as it may, no ministers are allowed in legislature, but neither are atheists, one being morally right and ethically good, and the other against or indifferent to his existence thinks of themselves as above the state. These forces in opposition must never duel where wrong and bad may win the day.
Be that as it may, no ministers are allowed in legislature, because they are in such a position that we, the people of Tennessee, can't afford for them to debase their relationship with the church. Politicians know that, if they lose the vote, some of the tax dollars they collect will be forfeit to a cause which may be beneficial to the majority but not so much to the minority. Being morally right and ethically good, ministers can't afford, and we can ill afford, their judgment to be in question. The foundation of our nation stands on a belief that we are right and good, where a belief in a higher power is inherent in the state, because we are a part of a nation where in God we trust. We can't sully the good name of the church by making ministers accept what in their doctrine they are opposed. Not everything that is morally right by the state is ethically good to the church. Thus, the church allows ethics to supersede morals of any state, but often reality has yet to catch up with what we think should be so. Our many diverse ways of worshipping our Lord cannot be allowed to cloud the politics of the state, which is in the best interest of all. Though ministers may be right and good, the state even feeds those opposite alike.
Likewise, how could we support one in the legislature who isn't necessarily wrong but is most assuredly bad? As our nation trusts in God, so too does the state, but citizens are allowed the freedom to believe whatever they wish, even if it draws them to deny the existence of a higher power. They just can't openly be so and allowed to run for an office in the legislature or other civil position in the state. If one denies a future without reward or punishment, how can the state maintain order? God forbid there be two, but theoretically, as in Star Wars Sith, there are always two, a master and an apprentice. The dark side of the state is absent from the shame that comes along with punishment. So, though they may follow the law, it is just to control what power he or she may and divert it toward their evil ends. The ball of Sisyphus hedonism is pushed up the mountain, but time and again the mountain remains undefeated. Misery loves company, but one can't confuse right from wrong or be satisfied with the present state of affairs. We are not monsters, physically or mentally.
These forces in opposition, the church and an atheist, mustn't battle a duel where wrong and bad may win the day. When one feels himself wronged by another, and the other is as adamant about his position, if an agreement from the courts established can't resolve issues, there is still no need to flip a coin to see who lives and who dies. Infamous duels like the one between Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, where Hamilton fails to draw his weapon against the then Vice President of the United States, must be prevented. At all cost, separate one from the other, as there is more than enough room in Tennessee for everyone to go about their lives, growing, prospering, and paying taxes. One's anger at another or another's at him has nothing to do with either's tax dollars we lose were a duel to seal their fate. Not that it is all about money, but being citizens of the state, we have a vested interest in the health, safety, and welfare of all. The freedom of speech is threatened when one is pressured into a duel, as one can either put up or shut up. Thus, no position of honor or profit may they be allowed into or those who assist.
Hence, no ministers are allowed in legislature, but neither are atheists, one being morally right and ethically good, and the other against or indifferent. These forces in opposition must never duel where wrong and bad may win the day. The courts can't rightfully decide the outcome of those in opposition, if matters are left out of their hands. Disqualifications include those closest to God, those furthest from Him, and those who care so little of the state that they think their longevity is not the duty of the state. The state ranks above the chains of slavery but below the bonds of religion, as we want to follow God's plan, being forced to follow a slave master's. As evil begets evil, and right nurtures its like in kind, so too does the atheist attempt to make what is not right fair seeming. The cancer of inappropriate behavior begins with the hedonism of the atheist and ends with enforcement of the law. A duel is no law at all.
That is all this time. We are nearing the end of this course, so note that 2 weeks from now we will have a final exam and papers are due upon departure.